Yo, what up? Got the right camera this week. Can you believe? Oh my god, it's almost like I work in tech or something. How is everyone? Thank you for being here. We are doing the Stairs of Cirith Ungol speedrun tonight. My job is currently trying to kill me, has me by the throat, so I need to go back to work after this. But I'm taking a nice little break to read this super bummer chapter. So let's get into it. Hello, thank you for being here. It's much later today than I usually come on here, and I'm stoked. Yo, what up? Thanks for being here. Love y'all. Started from the beginning of the book, now the whole team fucking here. All right, so last week we had Journey to the Crossroads, probably the last chapter of like respite and pleasantness, or hints thereof that we get before Mordor. Fought a spider in the bathroom this evening. You're basically Sam. Very brave. Thank you. What up, Mark's Aldehyde? I still love your username. That's the best. And yeah, I was like reading some chat the other day about how like Sam is the only mortal to have ever like injured Spawn of Ungoliant, but I don't think he actually does. Anyway, we'll learn about it eventually. Also, just a note up here at the top, I will not be streaming next week, so no stream next week. I'll be back the following week, and it'll be that week and the week after, and we'll be done with Two Towers. Can you believe it? We're ripping. I was kind of hoping to finish the book before the end of the year, but we'll see what kind of time I have in the festive season. How many more chapters till the end of Return of the King? I can count real quick. Do we think Middle-earth has right? For sure, Middle-earth has house spiders, right? Like they have the giant spiders in Mirkwood. We have Shelob and Spawn of Ungoliant elsewhere. But I think like for sure there are regular sized spiders. All right. So 1, 2, 3. So 10 and 9. Excuse me. So 19 more chapters. And Minas Tirith is a massive fucking chapter. But maybe I can start combining and doing 2 at once. Because I'm hoping that my work will slow down in December and I'll have more time to sit on stream. What up, Nathan? How are you? Thank you for being here. I'm so stoked. Okay, I'm going to get going because I want to make sure we have time to do the whole thing. But put your comments in the chat and I'll stop and check whenever I can. I mean, it is a funny headcanon that spiders of regular size don't exist in Middle-earth. SOUSs, spiders of unusual size? I don't know. But what I do know is that we're on Book 4, Chapter 8. The Stairs of Cirith Ungol. Ooh. I'm also repping Favorite Peasant this evening. Follow them on Instagram. Bangers. It's like one of the coolest shirts I've ever had the pleasure of owning and wearing. All right. Book 4, Chapter 8. The Stairs of Cirith Ungol. Gollum was tugging at Frodo's cloak and hissing with fear and impatience. "We must go," he said. "We mustn't stand here. Make haste." Reluctantly, Frodo turned his back on the west and followed as his guide led him out into the darkness of the east. They left the ring of trees and crept along the road towards the mountains. This road, too, ran straight for a while, but soon it began to bend away southwards until it came right under the great shoulder of rock that they had seen from the distance. Black and forbidding it loomed above them, darker than the dark sky behind. Crawling under its shadow, the road went on, and rounding it sprang east again and began to climb steeply. Frodo and Sam were plodding along with heavy hearts, no longer able to care greatly about their peril. Frodo's head was bowed. His burden was dragging him down again. As soon as the great crossroads had been passed, the weight of it, almost forgotten in Ithilien, had begun to grow once more. Now, feeling the way become steep before his feet, he looked wearily up, and then he saw it, even as Gollum had said that he would, the city of the Ringwraiths. He cowered against the stony bank. A long tilted valley, a deep gulf of shadow, ran back far into the mountains. Upon the further side, some way within the valley's arms, high on a rocky seat upon the black knees of the Ephel Duath, stood the walls and tower of Minas Morgul. All was dark about it, earth and sky, but it was lit with light. Lit with light, you say? Not the imprisoned moonlight welling through the marble walls of Minas Ithil long ago, tower of the moon, fair and radiant in the hollow of the hills. Paler indeed than the moon, ailing in some slow eclipse was the light of it now, wavering and blowing like a noisome exhalation of decay. A corpse light, a light that illuminated nothing. In the walls and tower windows showed, like countless black holes looking inward into emptiness. But the topmost course of the tower revolved slowly, first one way and then another, a huge ghostly head leering into the night. For a moment, the three companions stood there, shrinking, staring up with unwilling eyes. Gollum was the first to recover. Again, he pulled at their cloaks urgently, but he spoke no word. Almost he dragged them forward. Every step was reluctant, and time seemed to slow its pace, so that between the raising of a foot and the setting of it down, minutes of loathing passed. Ugh. Miserable. Ugh. And yeah, obviously we all like what we do in the shadows. This is a safe space. Come on in. So they came slowly to the white bridge. Here the road, gleaming faintly, passed over the stream in the midst of the valley and went on, winding deviously up towards the city's gate, a black mouth opening in the outer circle of the northward walls. Wide flats lay on either bank, shadowy meads filled with pale white flowers. Luminous these were too, beautiful and yet horrible of shape, like the demented forms in an uneasy dream. And they gave forth a faint, sickening charnel smell. An odor of rottenness filled the air. From mead to mead the bridge sprang. Figures stood there at its head, carven with cunning in forms human and bestial, but all corrupt and loathsome. The water flowing beneath was silent, and it steamed, but the vapor that rose from it, curling and twisting about the bridge, was deadly cold. Frodo felt his senses reeling and his mind darkening. Then suddenly, as if some force were at work other than his own will, he began to hurry, tottering forward, his groping hands held out, his head lolling from side to side. Both Sam and Gollum ran after him. Sam caught his master in his arms as he stumbled and almost fell, right on the threshold of the bridge. "Not that way! No, not that way!" whispered Gollum, but the breath between his teeth seemed to tear the heavy stillness like a whistle, and he cowered to the ground in terror. "Hold up, Mr. Frodo," muttered Sam in Frodo's ear. "Come back. Not that way. Gollum says not, and for once I agree with him." Frodo passed his hand over his brow and wrenched his eyes away from the city on the hill. The luminous tower fascinated him, and he fought the desire that was on him to run up the gleaming road towards its gate. At last, with an effort, he turned back, and as he did so, he felt the ring resisting him, dragging at the chain about his neck, and his eyes, too, as he looked away, seemed for the moment to have been blinded. The darkness before him was impenetrable. Oh, y'all, it's lit in here, huh? Yo! Anna's in the chat! What up? Whistle, whistle, whistle! Yo! Also, just really quick side note, my initial internet claim to fame was from the What We Do in the Shadows movie. You know the part where the vampires are passing the pack of werewolves at night, and the head werewolf, who's played by Rhys Darby, like one of them's like cussing and swearing and be like, "Fuck you vampires," whatever. And he's like, "Hey, hey, hey, we're werewolves, not swearwolves." I made a patch that says "Swearwolves for life" and has the phases of the moon and a werewolf just yelling, "Fuck!" And oh my God, I made so much money on the furry community and cool ass fucking people in general. I was selling on Etsy, but like everyone and their mom ripped off my designs, so I don't sell them anymore. But if you ever want a Swearwolves patch, I have a whole box of them. And I made other embroidered patches too. And I kind of miss it. It was really fun. But I just got sick of my shit getting ripped off so bad. Like all of these Chinese companies stole my design, and like I have the copyright on it, but they don't give a shit. So it became more of a frustration than it was worth. But Jermaine Clement did retweet my Swearwolves patch one time, so I get to die happy as a result. Yes, 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 yes. Everyone has my fucking shit. Yes, I love it. I will just send y'all a patch. You don't have to buy one, please. Or we can trade. I love to trade. But yeah, just, drop your address in whatever way makes most sense to you and I'll send you one. I'm going to the post office tomorrow before I go out of town. Anyway, since we were talking about what we do in the shadows, let's get back to what they're doing in the shadows. Gollum, crawling on the ground like a frightened animal, was already vanishing into the gloom. Sam, supporting and guiding his stumbling master, followed after him as quickly as he could. Not far from the near bank of the stream, there was a gap in the stone wall beside the road. Through this they passed, and Sam saw that they were on a narrow path that gleamed faintly at first, as the main road did, until climbing above the meads of deadly flowers, it faded and went dark, winding its crooked way up into the northern sides of the valley. Yes, Noodle, I see you, honey, don't worry. I love how everything's gleaming, kind of like a side quest path in a video game. It's so eerie, it's so awful. Along this path the hobbits trudged, side by side, unable to see Gollum in front of them, except when he turned back to beckon them on. Then his eyes shone with a green-white light, reflecting the noisome Morgul green, perhaps. Oh no, pardon me, Morgul sheen, the lesser-known Sheen brother, or kindled by some answering mood within. Of that deadly gleam and of the dark eye-holes Frodo and Sam were always conscious, ever glancing fearfully over their shoulders, and ever dragging their eyes back to find the darkening path. Slowly they labored on. As they rose above the stench and vapors of the poisonous stream, their breath became easier and their heads clearer, but now their limbs were deadly tired, as if they had walked all night under a burden or had been swimming long against a heavy tide of water. At last they could go no further without a halt. Frodo stopped and sat down on a stone. They had now climbed up to the top of a great hump of bare rock. Ahead of them there was a bay in the valley side, and round the head of this the path went on, no more than a wide ledge with a chasm on the right. Across the sheer southward face of the mountain it crawled upwards until it disappeared into the blackness above. "I must rest a while, Sam," whispered Frodo. "It's heavy on me, Sam, lad, very heavy. I wonder how far I can carry it. Anyway, I must rest before we venture on to that." He pointed to the narrow way ahead. "Shh! Shh!" hissed Gollum, hurrying back to them. "Shh!" His fingers were on his lips, and he shook his head urgently. Tugging at Frodo's sleeve, he pointed towards the path, but Frodo would not move. "Not yet," he said. "Not yet." Weariness, and more than weariness, oppressed him. It seemed as if a heavy spell was laid on his mind and body. "I must rest," he muttered. At this, Gollum's fear and agitation became so great that he spoke again, hissing from behind his hand, as if to keep the sound from unseen listeners in the air. "Not here, no, not rest here, fools. Eyes can see us. When they come to the bridge, they will see us. Come away, climb, climb, come." "Come, Mr. Frodo," said Sam. "He's right again. We can't stay here." "All right," said Frodo in a remote voice, as of one speaking half asleep. "I will try." Wearily, he got to his feet. "My poor fucking boy. Oh my God. Someone help him." Oh, thank you. I'm really good at segues and transitions. Thank you. That's like one of the only things my English degree is good for. But it was too late. At that moment, the rock quivered and trembled beneath them. The great rumbling noise, louder than ever before, rolled in the ground and echoed in the mountains. Then, with searing suddenness, there came a great red flash. Far beyond the eastern mountains, it leapt into the sky and splashed the lowering clouds with crimson. In that valley of shadow and cold, deathly light, it seemed unbearably violent and fierce. In that valley of shadow and cold, deathly light it seemed, unbearably violent and fierce. That sentence needs a comma in it. Peaks of stone and ridges like notched knives sprang out in staring black against the uprushing flame in Golgoroth. Then came a great crack of thunder, and Minas Morgul answered. "Girl, they're trying to kill me." There was a flare of livid lightnings, forks of blue flame springing up from the tower, and from the encircling hills into the sullen clouds. Sudden clouds. No. The earth groaned, and out of the city there came a cry. mingled with harsh, high voices as of birds of prey, and the shrill neighing of horses wild with rage and fear, there came a rending screech, shivering, rising swiftly to a piercing pitch beyond the range of hearing. The hobbits wheeled round towards it and cast themselves down, holding their hands upon their ears. As the terrible cry ended, falling back through a long, sickening wail to silence, Frodo slowly raised his head. Across the narrow valley, now almost on a level with his eyes, the walls of the evil city stood, and its cavernous gate, shaped like an open mouth with gleaming teeth, was gaping wide. And out of the gate, an army came. All that host was clad in sable, dark as the night. Against the wan walls and the luminous pavement of the road, Frodo could see them, small black figures in rank upon rank, marching swiftly and silently, passing outwards in an endless stream. Before them went a great cavalry of horsemen moving like ordered shadows, and at their head was one greater than all the rest. A rider, all black, save that on his hooded head he had a helm like a crown that flickered with a perilous light. Now he was drawing near the bridge below, and Frodo's staring eyes followed him, unable to wink or to withdraw. Surely there was the Lord of the Nine Riders returned to Earth to lead his ghastly host to battle. Here, yes, here indeed was the haggard king whose cold hand had smitten down the ring-bearer with his deadly knife. The old wound throbbed with pain, and a great chill spread towards Frodo's heart. His fucking calling card, dude! Yeah, Anna, I love this part too. Oh, it's like, it's so visceral. Even as these thoughts pierced him with dread and held him bound as with a spell, the rider halted suddenly, right before the entrance of the bridge, and behind him all the host stood still. There was a pause, a dead silence. Maybe it was the ring that called to the Wraith Lord, and for a moment he was troubled, sensing some other power within his valley. This way and that turned the dark head helmed and crowned with fear, sweeping the shadows with its unseen eyes. Frodo waited, like a bird at the approach of a snake, unable to move. And as he waited, he felt, more urgent than ever before, the command that he should put on the ring. But great as the pressure was, he felt no inclination now to yield to it. He knew that the ring would only betray him, and that he had not, even if he put it on, the power to face the Morgul king. Not yet. Ooh, what yet? There was no longer any answer to that command in his own will, dismayed by terror though it was, and he felt only the beating upon him of a great power from outside. It took his hand, and as Frodo watched with his mind, not willing it but in suspense, as if he looked on some old story far away, it moved the hand, inch by inch, towards the chain upon his neck. Then his own will stirred. Slowly it forced the hand back and set it to find another thing, a thing lying hidden near his breast. Cold and hard it seemed as his grip closed on it, the phial of Galadriel, so long treasured and almost forgotten till that hour. As he touched it, for a while all thought of the ring was banished from his mind. He sighed and bent his head. At that moment, the Wraith King turned and spurred his horse and rode across the bridge, and all his dark host followed him. Maybe the elven hoods defied his unseen eyes, and the mind of his small enemy, being strengthened, had turned aside his thought. But he was in haste. Already the hour had struck, and at his great master's bidding he must march with war into the west. Soon he had passed like a shadow into shadow down the winding road, and behind him still the black ranks crossed the bridge. So great an army had never issued from that vale since the days of Isildur's might. No host so fell and strong in arms had yet assailed the fords of Anduin, and yet it was but one, and not the greatest of the hosts that Mordor now sent forth. Fucking close call, dude. Ooh. The call is coming from inside the house. Frodo's hand is moving against his will. Frodo stirred, and suddenly his heart went out to Faramir. The storm has burst at last, he thought. This great array of spears and swords is going to Osgiliath. Will Faramir get across in time? He guessed it, but did he know the hour? And who can now hold the fords when the King of the Nine Riders comes? And other armies will come. I am too late. All is lost. I tarried on the way. All is lost. Even if my errand is performed, no one will ever know. There will be no one I can tell. It will be in vain. Overcome with weakness, he wept, and still the host of Morgul crossed the bridge. Then, at a great distance, as if it came out of memories of the Shire, some sunlit early morning when the day called and doors were opening, he heard Sam's voice speaking. "Wake up, Mr. Frodo! Wake up!" Had the voice added, "Your breakfast is ready," he would hardly have been surprised. Certainly, Sam was urgent. "Wake up, Mr. Frodo! They're gone," he said. There was a dull clang. The gates of Minas Morgul had closed. The last rank of spears had vanished down the road. The tower still grinned across the valley, but the light was fading in it. The whole city was falling back into a dark, brooding shade and silence, yet still it was filled with watchfulness. "Wake up, Mr. Frodo. They're gone, and we'd better go too. There's something still alive in that place, something with eyes, or a seeing mind if you take me, and the longer we stay in one spot, the sooner it will get to us. Come on, Mr. Frodo." Frodo raised his head and then stood up. Despair had not left him, but the weakness had passed. He even smiled grimly, feeling now as clearly as a moment before he had felt the opposite, that what he had to do if he could, and that whether Faramir or Aragorn or Elrond or Galadriel or Gandalf or anyone else ever knew about it was beside the purpose. He took his staff in one hand and the file in his other. When he saw that the clear light was already welling through his fingers, he thrust it into his bosom and held it against his heart. Then, turning from the city of Morgul, now no more than a gray glimmer across the dark gulf, he prepared to take the upward road. Isaac, wonder if the file of Galadriel would have been an effective deterrent against ring wraiths. It's a good question, because, I mean, at least in movie lore, we know they don't like water and they don't like fire, so I think elven light would be more than enough to deter them. Also because, like, I don't know, Gollum is evil and touching elven rope burns him, which I do think he feels like it's burning him, even if it's not literally. So yeah, I think there's something to that. I love that. Gollum, it seemed, had crawled off along the ledge into the darkness beyond when the gates of Minas Morgul opened, leaving the hobbits where they lay. He now came creeping back, his teeth chattering and his fingers snapping. "Foolish, silly," he hissed. "Make haste! They mustn't think danger has passed. It hasn't. Make haste!" They did not answer, but they followed him on to the climbing ledge. It was little to the liking of either of them, not even after facing so many other perils, but it did not last long. Noodle, come here, honey. Come here. Come around this way so I can pet you with this hand. All right, fine. Okay. All right. Ugh. Soon the path reached a rounded angle where the mountainside swelled out again, and there it suddenly entered a narrow opening in the rock. They had come to the first stair that Gollum had spoken of. The darkness was almost complete, and they could see nothing much beyond their hands' stretch, but Gollum's eyes shone pale, several feet above as he turned back towards them. "Careful," he whispered. "Steps, lots of steps. Must be careful." Care was certainly needed. Frodo and Sam at first felt easier, having now a wall on either side, but the stairway was almost as steep as a ladder, and as they climbed up and up, they became more and more aware of the long, black fall behind them. And the steps were narrow, spaced unevenly, and often treacherous. They were worn and smooth at the edges, and some were broken, and some cracked as foot was set upon them. The hobbits struggled on until at last they were clinging with desperate fingers to the steps ahead and forcing their aching knees to bend and straighten. And ever as the stair cut its way deeper into the sheer mountain, the rocky walls rose higher and higher above their heads. At length, just as they felt that they could endure no more, they saw Gollum's eyes peering down at them again. "We're up," he whispered. "First stairs past. Clever hobbits to climb so high. Very clever hobbits. Just a few more little steps, and that's all. Yes." Fresh Prince Gollum just comes back scatting, right? Like, with his teeth chattering and his fingers snapping. So funny. Oof. I need that levity to get through this shit, man. These chapters, like, this The story just gets so fucking dark for, like, the foreseeable. Dizzy and very tired, Sam and Frodo following him crawled up the last step and sat down rubbing their legs and knees. They were in a deep, dark passage that seemed still to go up before them, though at a gentler slope and without steps. Gollum did not let them rest long. "There's another stair still," he said. "Much longer stair. Rest when we get to the top of next stair. Not yet." Sam groaned. "Longer, did you say?" he asked. "Yes, yes, longer," said Gollum, "but not so difficult. Hobbits have climbed the straight stair. Next comes the winding stair, and then the squinty stair, I assume." "And what after that?" said Sam. "We shall see," said Gollum softly. "Oh, yes, we shall see." "I thought you said there was a tunnel," said Sam. "Isn't there a tunnel or something to go through?" "Oh, yes, there's a tunnel," said Gollum, "but hobbits can rest before they try that. If they get through that, they'll be nearly at the top. Very nearly if they get through. Oh, yes." Frodo shivered. The climb had made him sweat, but now he felt cold and clammy, and there was a chill draught in the dark passage blowing down from the invisible heights above. He got up and shook himself. "Well, let's go on," he said. "This is no place to sit in." Sam with the sauce, indeed, dude. I thought you said there was some kind of fucking tunnel. Excuse me, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. The passage seemed to go on for miles, and always the chill air flowed over them, rising as they went on to a bitter wind. The mountains seemed to be trying with their deadly breath to daunt them, to turn them back from the secrets of the high places, or to blow them away into the darkness behind. They only knew that they had come to the end when suddenly they felt no wall at their right hand. They could see very little. Great black, shapeless masses and deep gray shadows loomed above them and about them, but now and again a dull red light flickered up under the lowering clouds, and for a moment they were aware of tall peaks, in front and on either side, like pillars holding up a vast, sagging roof. They seemed to have climbed up many hundreds of feet onto a wide shelf. A cliff was on their left and a chasm on their right. Gollum led the way close under the cliff. For the present, they were no longer climbing, but the ground was now more broken and dangerous in the dark, and there were blocks and lumps of fallen stone in the way. Their going was slow and cautious. How many hours had passed since they entered the Morgul Vale, neither Sam nor Frodo could any longer guess. The night seemed endless. At length they were once more aware of a wall looming up, and once more a stairway opened before them. Again they halted, and again they began to climb. It was a long and weary ascent, but this stairway did not delve into the mountainside. Here the huge cliff face sloped backwards, and the path, like a snake, wound to and fro across it. At one point it crawled sideways right to the edge of the dark chasm, and Frodo, glancing down, saw below him as a vast deep pit the great ravine at the head of the Morgul Valley. Down in its depths glimmered like a glowworm thread. I can read, I promise. Down in its depths glimmered like a glowworm thread the Wraith Road from the Dead City to the Nameless Pass. He turned hastily away. "Hey, Tolkien, you've got plenty of hyphens in here. Can you spare a comma for your girl? Thank you." Still on and up the stairway bent and crawled until at last, with a final flight, short and straight, it climbed out again onto another level. The path had veered away from the main pass in the great ravine, and it now followed its own perilous course at the bottom of a lesser cleft among the higher regions of the Ethel Duath. Dimly, the hobbits could discern tall piers and jagged pinnacles of stone on either side, between which were great crevices and fissures blacker than the night, where forgotten winters had gnawed and carved the sunless stone. Bars. And now the red light in the sky seemed stronger, though they could not tell whether a dreadful morning were indeed coming to this place of shadow, or whether they saw only the flame of some great violence of Sauron in the torment of Gorgoroth beyond. Still far ahead and still high above, Frodo, looking up, saw, as he guessed, the very crown of this bitter road. Against the sullen redness of the eastern sky, a cleft was outlined in the topmost ridge, narrow, deep cloven between two black shoulders, and on either shoulder was a horn of stone. He paused and looked more attentively. The horn upon the left was tall and slender, and in it burned a red light, or else the red light in the land beyond was shining through a hole. He saw now. It was a black tower poised above the outer pass. He touched Sam's arm and pointed. I don't like the look of that, said Sam. So this secret way of yours is guarded after all? He growled, turning to Gollum. And you knew all along, I suppose? Fucking nothing gets past you, Samwise, huh? Always are watched, yes, said Gollum. Of course they are, but hobbits must try some way. This may be least watched. Perhaps they've all gone away to big battle. Perhaps. Perhaps, grunted Sam. Well, it seems a long way off and a long way up before we get there, and there's still the tunnel. I think you ought to rest now, Mr. Frodo. I don't know what time of day or night it is, but we've kept going for hours and hours. Yes, we must rest, said Frodo. Let us find some corner out of the wind and gather our strength for the last lap. For so he felt it to be. The terrors of the land beyond and the deed to be done there seemed remote, too far off yet to trouble him. All his mind was bent on getting through or over this impenetrable wall and guard. If once he could do that impossible thing, then somehow the errand would be accomplished, or so it seemed to him in that dark hour of weariness, still laboring in the stony shadows under Cirith Ungol. All right, chat, what up? Fresh Prince, Hobbit survival instincts are hot garbage. It's a miracle they've made it this far. Pretty sure Eru would agree, says Isaac. Indeed. And then Eru just dropping new tracks to help them survive. This is the thing, is I like that hobbits are canonically hard to kill and hard to daunt because they have fucking zero instincts. It's great. I love them. All right, let's have some water in my dry mouth. All right. In a dark crevice between two great piers of rock, they sat down, Frodo and Sam a little way within, and Gollum crouched upon the ground near the opening. There, the hobbits took what they expected would be their last meal before they went down into the nameless land, perhaps the last meal they would ever eat together. Some of the food of Gondor they ate, and wafers of the waybread of the elves, and they drank a little, but of their water they were sparing, and took only enough to moisten their dry mouths. Dry mouths? Same. I wonder when we'll find water again, said Sam. But I suppose even over there they drink? Orcs drink, don't they? Yes, they drink, said Frodo. But do not let us speak of that. Such drink is not for us. Then all the more need to fill our bottles, said Sam. But there isn't any water up here. Not a sound or a trickle have I heard. And anyway, Faramir said we were not to drink any water in Morgul. No water flowing out of Imlad Morgul were his words, said Frodo. We are not in that valley now, and if we came on a spring it would be flowing into it and not out of it. I wouldn't trust it, said Sam. Not till I was dying of thirst. There's a wicked feeling about this place. Oh, no shit? He sniffed. And a smell, I fancy. Do you notice it? A queer kind of smell. Stuffy. I don't like it. I don't like anything here at all, said Frodo. Step or stone, breath or bone, earth, air, and water all seem accursed. But so our path is laid. Yes, that's so, said Sam. And we shouldn't be here at all if we'd known more about it before we started. But I suppose it's often that way. The brave things in the old tales and songs, Mr. Frodo. Adventures, as I used to call them. I used to think that they were things the wonderful folk of the stories went out and looked for because they wanted them, because they were exciting and life was a bit dull, a kind of a sport, as you might say. But that's not the way of it with the tales that really mattered, or the ones that stay in the mind. Folk seem to have been just landed in them, usually. Their paths were laid that way, as you put it. But I expect they had lots of chances, like us, of turning back, only they didn't. And if they had, we shouldn't know, because they'd have been forgotten. We hear about those as just went on, and not all good. We hear about those as just went on, and not all to a good end, mind you. At least not to what folk inside a story and not outside it call a good end. You know, coming home and finding things all right, though not quite the same, like old Mr. Bilbo. But those aren't always the best tales to hear, though they may be the best tales to get landed in. I wonder what sort of a tale we've fallen into. Sam with the fucking foreshadowing, dude. Come on. I wonder, said Frodo, but I don't know. And that's the way of a real tale. Take any one that you're fond of. You may know or guess what kind of a tale it is, happy ending or sad ending, but the people in it don't know, and you don't want them to. Okay, fucking very quick aside here, because it's top of mind for me currently. You don't know what kind of tale you're in? There's a letter from Tolkien to his son Christopher, in I think 1944, when Christopher is deployed. And Tolkien writes something to the effect of, well, there you are, a hobbit amongst the Uruk-hai. Keep up your hobbitry in heart, and remember that stories always feel like that when you're in them. That relates directly to this for me. Talking about being in a story and like being in a story that like no one will maybe ever tell, and also keeping up your hobbitry in heart and looking towards the hope of a happy ending. Baby, it's all very cyclical. I'm so tired I can't even clap with one hand, dog. Oh my God. There we go. No, sir, of course not. Beren now, he never thought he was going to get that Silmaril from the Iron Crown in Thangorodrim, and yet he did, and that was a worse place and a blacker danger than ours. But that's a long tale, of course, and goes on past the happiness and into grief and beyond it. And the Silmaril went on and came to Erendil. And why, sir, I never thought of that before. Excuse me. Someone's trying to catch me. And why, sir, I never thought of that before. You've got, some of the light of it in that star glass that the lady gave you. Why, to think of it, we're in the same tale still. It's going on. Don't the great tales never end? No, they never end as tales, said Frodo, but the people in them come and go when their part's ended. Our part will end later, or sooner. Noodle, lie down, honey. Go to your bed. Yes, good girl. Oh, I know. Okay, all right. Our part will end later or sooner. And then we can have some rest and some sleep, said Sam. He laughed grimly. And I mean just that, Mr. Frodo. I mean plain, ordinary rest and sleep and waking up to a morning's work in the garden. I'm afraid that's all I'm hoping for all the time. All the big, important plans are not for my sort. Still, I wonder if we shall ever be put into songs or tales. I mean, we're in one, of course, but I mean, put into words, you know, told by the fireside or read out of a great big book with red and black letters, years and years afterward. And people will say, let's hear about Frodo and the Ring. And they'll say, yes, that's one of my very favorite stories. Frodo was very brave, wasn't he, Dad? Yes, my boy, the famousest of the hobbits, and that's saying a lot. It's saying a lot too much, said Frodo, and he laughed, a long, clear laugh from his heart. Such a sound had not been heard in those places since Sauron came to Middle-earth. To Sam, suddenly it seemed as if all the stones were listening and the tall rocks leaning over them. But Frodo did not heed them. He laughed again. Why, Sam, to hear you somehow makes me merry as if the story was already written. But you've left out one of the chief characters, Samwise the Stout-Hearted. I want to hear more about Sam, Dad. Why didn't they put in more folk of his talk, Dad? Oh, wait, no, fuck, shit. Why didn't they put in more of his talk, Dad? That's what I like. It makes me laugh. And Frodo wouldn't have got far without Sam, would he, Dad? Who's Dad? I know, like, theoretical. What's the word I'm looking for? It starts with H. Guys, help me. Hypothetical. The hypothetical dad. The royal dad. Now, Mr. Frodo, said Sam, you shouldn't make fun. I was serious. So was I, said Frodo, and so I am. We're going on a bit too fast. You and I, Sam, are still stuck in the worst places of the story, and it is all too likely that some will say at this point, shut the book now, Dad. We don't want to read anymore. Maybe, said Sam, but I wouldn't be one to say that. Things done over and over and made into part of the great tales are different. Why, even Gollum might be good in a tale, better than he is to have by you anyway, and he used to like tales himself once by his own account. I wonder if he thinks he's the hero or the villain. Gollum, he called, would you like to be the hero? Now where's he got to again? This is cute, isn't it? Ugh, This is very cute. Anna, I love Sam too. He's adorable. Myopic as fuck, but he's very cute. Sweet Eero, I wish that there's some good in this world scene was in the books. Sting, it's like a pretty good little disambiguation speech in the movie. Mark's aldehyde, Sam truly is such a weeb, but for elves. Straight up, like I do relate very much to Sam of like quoting shit off the dome. Oh no. He's me and I'm him. Oh no. All right. I just love him calling to Gollum, would you like to be the hero or the villain? There was no sign of him at the mouth of their shelter, nor in the shadows near. He had refused their food, though he had, as usual, accepted a mouthful of water, and then he had seemed to curl up for a sleep. They had supposed that one at any rate of his objects in his long absence the day before had been to hunt for food to his own liking, and now he had evidently slipped off again while they talked. But what for this time? I don't like his sneaking off without saying, said Sam, and least of all now. He can't be looking for food up here. Not unless there's some kind of rock he fancies. Why, there isn't even a bit of moss. It's no good worrying about him now, said Frodo. We couldn't have got so far, not even within sight of the pass without him, and so we'll have to put up with his ways. If he's false, he's false. All the same, I'd rather have him under my eye, said Sam. All the more so if he's false. Do you remember he never would say if this pass was guarded or no? And now we see a tower there, and it may be deserted, and it may not. Do you think he's gone to fetch them, orcs or whatever they are? No, I don't think so, answered Frodo. Even if he's up to some wickedness, and I suppose that's not unlikely, I don't think it's that, not to fetch orcs or any servants of the enemy. Why wait till now, and go through all the labor of the climb, and come so near the land he fears? He could probably have betrayed us to orcs many times since we met him. Just like call him up on his Gollum phone? No, if it's anything, it will be some little private trick of his own that he thinks is quite secret. Well, I suppose you're right, Mr. Frodo, said Sam. Not that it comforts me mightily. I don't make no mistake. I don't doubt he'd hand me over. He'd hand me over to orcs as gladly as kiss his hand. But I was forgetting. His precious. No, I suppose the whole time it's been the precious for poor Smeagol. That's the one idea in all his little schemes, if he has any. But how bringing us up here will help him in that is more than I can guess. Very likely he can't guess himself, said Frodo, and I don't think he's got just one plain scheme in his muddled head. I think he really is, in part, trying to save the precious from the enemy as long as he can. For that would be the last disaster for himself, too, if the enemy got it. And in the other part, perhaps he's just biding his time and waiting on chance. Yes, slinker and stinker, as I've said before, said Sam. He's like, yes, my theory, my thesis is being proven. But the nearer they get to the enemy's land, the more like slinker we get. Slinker, come on. Mark my words, if ever we get to the pass, he won't let us really take the precious thing over the border without making some kind of trouble. We haven't got there yet, said Frodo. No, but we'd better keep our eyes skinned till we do. If we're caught napping, Stinker will come out on top pretty quick. Not but what it would be safe for you to have a wink now, master. Safe if you lay close to me. I'd be dearly glad to see you have a sleep. I'd keep watch over you, and anyway, if you lay near with my arm round you, no one could come pawing you without your Sam knowing it. Sleep, said Frodo and sighed, as if out of a desert he had seen a mirage of cool green. Yes, even here I could sleep. Sleep then, master. Lay your head in my lap. And so Gollum found them hours later when he returned, crawling and creeping down the path out of the gloom ahead. Sam sat propped against a stone, his head drooping sideways and his breathing heavy. In his lap lay Frodo's head, drowned deep in sleep. Upon his white forehead lay one of Sam's brown hands, and the other lay softly upon his master's breast. Peace was in both their faces. Gollum looked at them. A strange expression passed over his lean, hungry face. The gleam faded from his eyes, and they went dim and gray, old and tired. A spasm of pain seemed to twist him, and he turned away, peering back up towards the pass, shaking his head, as if engaged in some interior debate. Then he came back, and slowly putting out a trembling hand, very cautiously he touched Frodo's knee. But almost the touch was a caress. For a fleeting moment, could one of the sleepers had seen him, they would have thought that they beheld an old, weary hobbit, shrunken by the years that had carried him far beyond his time, beyond friends and kin, and the fields and streams of youth, an old, starved, pitiable thing. Oh, I'm gonna cry! It's so fucking tragic! But at that touch, Frodo stirred and cried out softly in his sleep, and immediately Sam was wide awake. The first thing he saw was Gollum, pawing at Master, as he thought. Hey, you, he said roughly. What are you up to? Nothing, said Gollum softly. Nice, Master. I dare say, said Sam. But where have you been to? Sneaking off and sneaking back, you old villain. Gollum withdrew himself, and a green glint flickered under his heavy lids. Almost spider-like he looked now, crouched back on his bent limbs with his protruding eyes. The fleeting moment had passed beyond recall. Sneaking, he hissed. Hobbits are always so polite, yes. Oh, nice hobbits. Smeagol brings them up secret ways that nobody else could find. Tired he is, thirsty he is, yes, thirsty. And he guides them and he searches for paths, and they say sneak. Sneak! Very nice friends. Oh, yes, my precious, very nice. Sam felt a bit remorseful, though not more trustful. Sorry, he said. I'm sorry, but you startled me out of my sleep, and I shouldn't have been sleeping, and that made me a bit sharp. But Mr. Frodo, he's that tired. I asked him to have a wink, and, well, that's how it is. Sorry, but where have you been to? Sneaking, said Gollum, and the green glint did not leave his eyes. Oh, very well, said Sam. Have it your own way. I don't suppose it's so far from the truth. And now we'd better all be sneaking along together. What's the time? Is it today or tomorrow? It's tomorrow, said Gollum. Or this was tomorrow when hobbits went to sleep. Very foolish, very dangerous, if poor Smeagol wasn't sneaking about to watch. I think we shall get tired of that word soon, said Sam. But never mind. I'll wake Master up. Gently, he smoothed the hair back from Frodo's brow, and bending down, spoke softly to him, and fucking kissed him on the mouth, apparently. Wake up, Mr. Frodo. Wake up. Frodo stirred and opened his eyes and smiled, seeing Sam's face bending over him. Calling me early, aren't you, Sam? He said. It's dark still. Yes, it's always dark here, said Sam. But Gollum's come back, Mr. Frodo, and he says it's tomorrow, so we must be walking on. The last lap. Frodo drew a deep breath and sat up. The last lap, he said. Hello, Smeagol. Found any food? Have you had any rest? No food, no rest, nothing for Smeagol, said Gollum. He's a sneak. Sam clicked his tongue, but restrained himself. Don't take names to yourself, Smeagol, said Frodo. It's unwise, whether they are true or false. Smeagol has to take what's given him, answered Gollum. He was given that name by kind Master Samwise, the hobbit that knows so much. Frodo looked at Sam. Yes, sir, he said. I did use the word, waking up out of my sleep sudden and all, and finding him at hand. I said I was sorry, but I soon shan't be. He's like such a bitch. Come on, Sam. Come, let it pass then, said Frodo. But now we seem to have come to the point, you and I, Smeagol. Tell me, can we find the rest of the way by ourselves? We're in sight of the pass, a way in, and if we can find it now, then I suppose our agreement can be said to be over. You have done what you promised, and you're free. Free to go back to food and rest wherever you wish to go, except to servants of the enemy. And one day I may reward you, I or those that remember me. No, not yet, Gollum whined. Oh, no, they can't find the way themselves, can they? Oh, no, indeed. There's the tunnel coming. Smeagol must go on. No rest, no food. Not yet. Miserable. Ooh, I'm in the business of misery. Let's take it from the top. Fucking hell, dude. Rough. Okay, what are we looking at? What's up, chat? SH, Sam is a dork like us. 100. Do you think he likes shipwreck podcasts? I mean, probably. He'd be into like gardening podcasts that drop 3 days a week. And then on the off days, he'd definitely be into like true crime. I think the gaffer has a shipwreck podcast and Sam is a producer. SH, I mean, that does canonically line up in the sense that Sam fucking hates boats, so I feel like he would take a twisted sort of pleasure in talking about shipwrecks. If anything, Gaffer has a gardening podcast, says Isaac. Yes, that's what it started as. And they were roommates. Oh my god, they were roommates. It's textual. They're boys. Your undergrad prof, Anna, was all about a queer reading of Lord of the Rings. She would have loved your vid. Thank you. And yeah, sneaking, the word just over and over. But yeah, I mean, like, it's not even subtext, y'all. That's just the fucking text. And again, like, I personally don't read Frodo and Sam as romantic. I do appreciate the platonic reading of their relationship very much. But, like, come on. Lay your head in my lap. That's my move when I'm trying to let someone know that it's on. Like, come on, dude. Let's go. So, thank you for joining me for this. Again, fucking miserable. I really want to dig into a couple bits of this chapter some more, but I am pleased I got to explain the Christopher Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien, Hobbitry and Heart. All stories feel like that when you are in them, I think is like the main thread of that chapter for me, that and sneaking. So when I come back from my business trip, which again, I won't be streaming next week. I'll be back the following week. I'll post about it as usual and let y'all know what's going on. I will try to take a couple notes on that chapter to start off with before we dig into Shelob's lair. Ooh, my big girl. And then from there, we have 2 chapters left of Two Towers, and then we'll get right into Return of the King. And it's going to be December, and I hopefully will have a shitload more time. So maybe I can stream more than once a week. We'll see. It's going to fuck up my naming convention, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. The Gleaming White Bridge, full of an army of darkness. And yeah, it is just very blatant. Like, it's very precious and it is very wholesome, but it's also fucking sexy as hell. So thank y'all again for joining me. I will let y'all know what's up, and if you want to join my Discord, let me know. I can send you an invite link or whatever. But yeah, I love you all very much. I so am enjoying these streams with you guys, and as I've said before, I'm going to keep doing them after we're done with Lord of the Rings. I'll probably do The Hobbit. I might do the Silmarillion if y'all can put up with me not being able to pronounce anything, but I'm definitely going to read Lord of the Rings again on stream. I'm just going to do this again. So get ready for that. But I need to go feed my dog and feed myself and keep working at my job. So I will see y'all in 2 weeks, I suppose, a fortnight. And yeah, I mean, I guess I'll have to, right? Do the Silmarillion, the Silmies. Oh my god, my Silmies. But yeah, have a good day. Have a good night. I'll see y'all soon for Harvard Lampoon's Silly Marillion. Love ya. Bye.